Cam Brar for Cam's Mortgage Minute on Thursday, November 15th. Hey, today I'm going to talk to you about oil spills. That's right, in Victoria, and I don't know where you are, but in Victoria we still have a lot of homes that have oil tanks for heat, like oil tanks that have obviously oil in them for a heating source, and so a lot of the forced furnace systems use oil heat. And recently there was a house in Saanich where a missed delivery by an oil company, what they wound up doing was providing oil into this house, where they started funneling it into this house that was under renovations and construction, and 308 liters were delivered inadvertently to it. And basically what happened is it perforated the drains around the house and into the Saanich storm drain system, resulting in $750,000 for demolition and rebuilding of the house. The oil company's obviously going to be on the hook for that. In BC alone, BC Hazmat said that in the Greater Victoria area, there were 36 calls related to heating oil spills this year, 3 times the usual number, and most are due to aging oil tanks and lines. A lot of homeowners don't realize they are not insured for an oil leak, and the cheapest cleanup from the stats they came out with was around $48,000, while most cleanups, are you ready for this, range in the neighborhood of $250,000, and that's straight out of the homeowner's pocket. So what can you do to help avoid this? Well, you can look at and get your tank and the lines inspected. Most tanks in Victoria were made by a company called Victoria Machinery Depot, and that company has now been defunct for about 20 years, but those tanks are beginning to fail. Most people don't realize that if they have a tank greater than 15 years, a lot of the insurance companies will simply not insure it, and you probably might have even received a letter to that effect. And even though the tank may look great from the outside, you have to realize the rusting is from the inside. And especially in situations where tanks are buried, that even requires greater due diligence. But the surface tanks, you definitely got to be inspected on a regular basis. So what does it cost to save this money? Well, a new tank costs about $1,500. That's it. It's like the old ounce of prevention, pound of cure thing. $1,500 and you're in a much better spot. So get your tank inspected. It's the smartest thing you can do. It's good for the environment, obviously, because if we have these leaks, they're feeding into our water system, which is eventually could leak into the salmon runs and the basic system overall. And these perimeter drains, like I said, they go basically right in, and the storm sewers lead right into the salmon stream. So again, certainly not very good at all. And the irony of it is that these oil tanks are less regulated than, let's say, for example, propane tanks in BC, which are heavily regulated. So there's a lot of different options people are discussing, different things they're looking at, implementing a fee, a surcharge for owners so that money could be put into a fund for cleanup or whatever else. I'm thinking at the end of the day, the onus has to fall back on the owners. That's the bottom line. Again, we can't live in a nanny state where everybody's going to look after my every screw up. I mean, the bottom line is if you have an oil tank, get an inspection. Unlike the circumstance where the oil company puts oil in the wrong place, that's not your fault. But if you've got an oil tank, get an inspection. I even have lenders now that are not even insuring, won't basically grant a mortgage on properties with oil or with oil tanks. So you've got to look at other options. We still have lenders who will do it, but again, more and more pulling out. And after hearing stories like this, I guarantee you there'll probably be even more pulling out. So again, I can't hammer on it enough. If you've got an oil tank at home, get it inspected, get it checked out, make sure it's worthy. $1,500 is a cheap investment to make sure you have peace of mind. Anyway, if you're looking for a mortgage, you've got a property such as that, you've got a decline from your existing lender, they won't lend it with an oil tank, let us know. Like I said, I do have lenders that will do that sort of thing. It's Cam the Mortgage Man. Hopefully this has provided you some additional information, and I will see you tomorrow.